Girl from the Ocean. Chapter 1. The Storm's Gift. Thandi woke to the sound of crashing waves and the sting of salt on her skin. Her head throbbed as she pushed herself up from the damp sand, blinking against the harsh sunlight. The last thing she remembered was the boat, her uncle's fishing vessel, rocking wildly in a storm off the coast of West Africa. She'd been helping him mend nets when the sky turned black and the sea swallowed them whole. Now here she was, alone on a shore she didn't recognize, with no sign of her uncle or the boat. The beach stretched endlessly before her, bordered by a dense forest of twisted trees and vines. Thandi, 12 years old and wiry from years of climbing mangrove trees, brushed the sand from her torn dress and stood. Her braids swung as she turned, searching for anything familiar. There was nothing, no huts, no smoke, no voices, just the wind and the distant calls of strange creatures unfamiliar to her. She didn't know it then, but Thandi had washed ashore in a place called Nixtera, far from her home. She had been stolen, not by hands, but by the storm, delivered to a land that did not know her name. Chapter 2. The Wild Ones. Thandi ventured into the forest, her bare feet sinking into the cool earth. She needed water, food, something to tell her where she was. That's when she heard it, a sharp, barking laugh. She froze, peering through the leaves. A tall, wiry figure stepped into view. He had a shock of hair like a hyena's mane and a grin full of mischief. "Well, well," he said, his voice quick and jagged. "What's this? A lost fish washed up from the sea?" "I'm not a fish," Thandi snapped, straightening her back. "I'm Thandi. Who are you?" "Name's Jabu," he said, circling her like a scavenger eyeing a prize. "You don't belong here, sea-girl. This is Nixtera, my territory." Before Thandi could respond, another figure emerged, a broad-shouldered woman with a stern face and arms like tree trunks. "Leave her be, Jabu," she rumbled. "She's no threat to you." Her voice was deep, steady, like the low growl of a lioness. She turned to Thandi. "I'm Nia. What brought you here?" "A storm," Thandi said, her throat dry. "It took my uncle's boat. I don't know where I am." Her bravado from minutes ago had started to fade as the realization slowly dawned on her. She was alone in an unknown world. Nia nodded, her eyes softening. "The sea's a tricky beast. You're far from home, little one. This place doesn't take kindly to strangers." Jabu snickered. "She won't last a day." But Thandi squared her shoulders. "I'll last as long as I need to." She might be in shock, but she was still Thandi of Hinterland, the proud daughter of the matriarch Naladia. Chapter 3. The Call of the Sea. Nixtera was nothing like Thandi's village. The people here moved like animals, each with their own way of surviving. Jabu darted and schemed, always looking for an angle. Nia stood firm, protective, but slow to trust. There was also Kita, a small, quick girl with eyes like a meerkat's, who watched Thandi from the shadows, and elder Mfo, a stooped man whose voice creaked like an old elephant's trumpet, full of wisdom but weary from years. "It's like they are half animal, half human," Thandi thought. "Just like the folklore stories my grandmother used to tell us at night, when we gathered around the fire." At first, they avoided her. Thandi was an outsider, a girl who smelled of salt and spoke with a dialect they found difficult to understand. But she didn't give up. She watched how Nia hauled water from a hidden spring, how Jabu climbed trees to snatch fruit, how Kita wove grass into mats. Thandi had always been quick to learn. Back home, she had fixed nets and built traps with her cousins. Now she used those skills to prove herself. She was alone and yearned for home, but she knew she had to learn new ways to survive. One day, a fierce wind tore through the forest, scattering Kita's precious mats. Thandi raced after them, climbing high into the branches to retrieve the last one before it vanished into the river. When she handed it back, Kita stared, then smiled for the first time. "You're not useless," she said. Kita had never seen anyone climb a tree like that. It was as comic as it was impressive, and suddenly she saw Thandi in a new light. Chapter 4. The Forgotten Truth. As weeks turned to months, Thandi carved a place for herself. She built a shelter from fallen branches, tying them with vines the way her uncle had taught her. She learned the Nixterra dialect, sharp and rhythmic, and shared stories of her village, of the sea that sang at night, of storms and ocean beasts with rainbow colours dancing on the surface when it rained. One evening, a fever swept through the group. Elder Empho grew weak, his breath rattling. Thandi remembered her grandmother's remedies, boiling fever leaves for tea. She trekked through the dark to find the plant, guided by Kita's sharp eyes. When Empho drank it and his strength returned, Nia clapped her on the shoulder. "You're one of us now." But it was Zuri, a tiny orphaned girl with a laugh like a bird's chirp, who changed everything. She had been alone since her parents vanished in a flood, and one night she curled up beside Thandi's shelter, shivering. Thandi didn't hesitate. She wrapped Zuri in her arms, whispering songs her mother used to sing. From then on, Zuri followed her everywhere, calling her big sister. Yet, despite everything, the sea still called to her in her dreams. One night, under a sky littered with stars, Thandi stood on the cliffs overlooking the ocean. The waves crashed below, their rhythms speaking in a language only she seemed to understand. A figure stepped forward, a woman draped in flowing robes of liquid silver, her hair a cascade of dark tendrils that shimmered like the night sea. Her eyes, deep and endless, locked onto Thandi's. "My child," the woman whispered, her voice carrying over the roar of the waves. "It is time." Chapter 5. The Choice. Thandi's breath caught in her throat. "Who are you?" The woman smiled, sadness in her gaze. "You have always known me." And suddenly memories surged within Thandi. Memories she had never lived. A kingdom beneath the waves, a mother's lullaby carried through the tides, a crown made of coral and pearls resting on her head. The woman reached out, her fingers cool against Thandi's cheek. "You are not of the land, my child. You never were. The storm did not steal you, it returned you." Jabu, watching from the shadows, stepped forward, eyes wide. "She's one of them," he whispered. The others gathered, their faces filled with awe and fear. Thandi shook her head. "Number I am." "Thandi of Hinterland, daughter of Naladia." The woman's eyes shimmered. "Naladia was not your mother. She was your guardian, sent to protect you. You are the lost princess of the Ocean Kingdom, and the sea has come to reclaim you." Thandi's heart clenched. Could she leave the only family she had left? "I am of two worlds," Thandi said finally, her voice steady. "And I will not abandon either." With one last look at her friends, Thandi stepped into the waves. The water swirled around her, lifting her toward a destiny she had never imagined. And on the shore, Zuri whispered, "She'll come back." She promised. For legends never truly end, they simply begin again.